I mean, they'll just pay your 1.5 then and you feel good with it. You feel good with your 1.5 and you feel like, yeah, somebody paid for your service and all of that. So that was a very big motivation for me.
Resisting the nation's branding is an uphill climb. But if you sell yourself any idea, you will the energy it summons. We've been confused, we've been angry, then we created solutions that we're passionate about and found our own success trajectory. And anyone can do it. I genuinely believe that.
I've been able to reach certain target audiences globally and I mean locally as well, but for the international audience that I have in my corner, that has
I saw a friend of mine who then served in his company. I was like, hey, I have a registered company, why don't I serve in my company? So I did. The figure I initially wanted to earn and I wanted someone else to pay me, I was making probably 5x that working for myself. So I was like, right, I found my trajectory. And I say this all the time, that when Wizkid, for example, sang Pakurumo, he didn't know he was ever going to sing Essence. But when you start on a trajectory, you're going to discover new things that are set on that trajectory.
It doesn't matter the fear you're feeling, it doesn't matter if you don't know the next place you're going to, you just have to start. And that's what I've done for myself. I started back in 2017 and I now own a production company. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I would say that once you start, you don't need to figure out all the steps. You just have to put one foot after the other. That's basically how it works. If you keep going on that path, there's no way you're not going to find success.
I can remember the first time when I created my Instagram account and I bought my first batch of props, and I was telling my twin sister, I was like, Sally, do I really want to get into this? Is this something that people would actually need? And I remember I had so much fear in me, but I just still kept up with the confidence I had in what I wanted to offer brands. And yeah, right now I still have a lot of fear with if I've chosen the right path, but I think fear is only natural to keep you on your feet.
A lot of people haven't started what they want to do because there are a lot of people doing what you're doing right now. So before you actually start, you're thinking to yourself, when will I start and when will I get to where these people are? But if you really want to do something, you should come out and do it because there's a space for everyone. We have how many people in the world right now, and one person, even 10,000 people can still do the work, and I just believe that there's a unique touch that everybody has to every skill that they have, and they can actually put it into it. And people that love what you do actually take it in. So just do it if you believe that you're good at it.
I get asked a lot how I came up with the name Angry Youth. Anger is a totally normal human emotion. We all feel it at some point, from the time you're born till whenever you die. But it's been villainized because it has its positives and negatives like everything else. You can decide to do something to change or maybe improve yourself, to change the situation or change the narrative, as opposed to the easier taking route, which is resorting to violence, or disorder.
One of the toughest struggles would be even convincing my parents to support the journey. But I think along the line, I proved myself with a lot of hard work and a lot of research, because in whatever field you're doing, you need to know the core essence of what it's all about and put in the work. And I feel if you do put in the work, eventually you would get something out of it.
The narrative is clear. Any youth can create what they imagine with passion, and if they have the sheer will to execute, they'll do it. Anyone can.
I'm the kind of person that at the beginning of the year, I want to sit down, plan ahead. I plan quarters ahead, plan the whole year ahead, but I always leave room for the will of God. So that's where I leave room for projects like this Kick and Co Synergy and other things that could come along the way that still marries and tallies with the objectives and plans of the company.
I'm a very detailed person, and everything I do, I try my best to do enough research to make sure I execute it to its fullest potential. So being able to land my first client in a month was something I was actively planning towards. I will send out enough pitches. I think out of like 20 pitches I'll send in a day, probably one reply or not, and some clients will be like, oh, maybe it would work with you, maybe not, stuff like that. So it was something I was actively like promoting and trying to get to. So yeah, it did take a lot of planning.
I think there's not one dimension to it. There are some things I like to plan because of like the intention and the precision, but there are some things that I just be winging it as I go. And I enjoy those moments too. So I feel like a little bit of both is very, very necessary. For me, anyways.
Seeds grow regardless of who planted them. So even if you're a madman and you plant mango will come off that. So whatever seed that you're operating with, understand that everyone must face the music. There will be repercussion, there will be harvest.
I have my moments where I am not productive. I do completely nothing. Maybe I'm having a depressive episode, I don't know, I can't really tell. But like, I'm just not trying to work, I'm not trying to do anything. But then I have moments where I know that, okay, this is it for me. This is my future, this is what I'm about, this is what I want the rest of my life to be.
LinkedIn is just like a very healthy space for me too. There was a challenge they did then, and then they like grouped us together. And then I made some friends from there, so we just kept pushing ourselves to be consistent and all of that.
I was telling my mom that I found this thing that I can do, which is write, which is tell stories. And if one person can part with $10 to collect what I've written, I strongly believe that there's someone out there that will part with $1,000 for something I've also written.
I'd say if it's yours, it will find you. And when it finds you, allow it find you. At least be open to allowing it find you. That's what people need to learn how to do, I think. To learn how to allow it find you. You have to give room for the finding. And by giving room might not necessarily go well with what everybody perceives for you.
We share the same passion and idea to grow and progress in a way that takes us away from the mediocrity that everyone experiences on this level here. It's something that you can't buy with money. And I think a lot of creatives lose the core essence of what it means to actually be a creative. You know, everyone is looking for that quick cash. Everyone is trying to, it's intimidating, but yeah, just always keep a focused mind on what you really want.
It's time we begin to speak up, right? It's time we begin to work with one another. The rich need to come out and educate the poor so that people understand value outside just money. So poor people are just working for money. They're not working to be like, let's take Locks and Smiths in the UK as an example. They were a poor Jewish family that started a lock company, and now they repair watches, keys, and this company has been there for over 3 decades. We don't have things like that in Nigeria because all man are hustler.
I think if you have a problem with something, create a change. Like for me, I really did not like the way Nigerian brands were representing themselves on social media. I felt like most Nigerian companies, skincare brands, didn't have this professional look that we'll see with international brands, and I really wanted to be able to create a solution for that.
So getting into the makeup space, I realized that there were a lot of people that were doing the same thing I was doing. And the fact that I didn't have so much time to learn, I just had 3 months, and I was learning how to draw brows when people were doing like complete look and all of that. When I got to university, I had the product and I was like, what will I do with this? I can't just bring it here and not use it. So I just put a price on it and I kept doing it.
So Gayalumi is currently working on a capsule collection which is set to drop by Q3 of 2024. First of all, the name of the project is Isong, which is Ibibio, and it translates to earth, like, you know, Gaia. It is centered around me trying to pay homage to my roots, because I'm from Akwa Ibom, and most people wouldn't be able to tell because of the Opoagu and its Igbo, you know, relations. But no, I'm trying to go back home.
The drop we have coming up now, I like to consider myself a Pan-Africanist, so I'm trying to key into like our roots as Africans, you know, and people that I think personally were very spectacular individuals, and shining a light on them.
With the current national brand, there isn't money to be made, but we're operating in the giant of Africa instead of the poverty capital of the world. This is an unscavenged land with bustling opportunities and room for success so bountiful it's almost biblical. It's the same folk, it's the same geography, it's just different branding. The narrative is clear. Any youth can create what they imagine with passion and sheer will to execute.